Blessings, Facebook family. Today is a beautiful day. Today is the day the Lord has made. Not only I, but you and I shall rejoice and be glad in it. Today is, what is it? Fruitful Friday. Thank you all for joining me today on another Fruitful Friday. Let's continue to encourage one another. Let's continue to share life food with one another. Today I wanted to talk about, do you have a colorful past? Again, the topic for today is, do you have a colorful past? And what that means is, do you have something in your past that is so ugly or so messy, or do you have this dark place in your past or even in your life right now where you feel that you are beyond God's hands of love, where you feel that it's too dark or it's too ugly or it's too messy for any good to come out of it? So that's what today's topic means when I ask, do you have a colorful past? I am inspirational author and life speaker Angelina Squire. Let's get into it. How many of you ever messed up so badly that it left you feeling and left you believing that God does not want to have anything to do with you? If this is you, let me help you right there. Stop. Stop. Stop beating yourself up, because guess what? There are so many others out there just like you, as well as myself. We have been left with feelings that we're not good enough. People who are even saved that are no longer doing things from their past, they still are left with feeling that God cannot use their life. They still believe that they're too messed up for any greatness to come out of. It doesn't take someone with degrees to understand that bad decisions, bad choices that we make in our life, that it can cost us some things within our lives, right? Bad decision can cost us our jobs, our marriages, relationships. It can cause some very unpleasant things even within our finances. So how can we have a life-changing encounter with Christ although we've messed up so terribly? Number one, be willing to admit it. That's confession. Out of your mouth. You have to confess it. You have to say it, whatever it is. And number two, you have to believe in your heart that God raised Jesus Christ from the dead, and you shall be saved. You read more of that in Romans chapter 10, verse 9. Again, we're talking about, do you have a colorful past? Do you have something so dark and ugly and you feel that God cannot use you, and you feel that He doesn't use people like that? Are there biblical truths that can back me up today on my topic? Are there any biblical truths that can back me up that shows that God indeed not only desired to use messed up people, broken people, but He wants to and He will use these people? I'm glad you asked me that question. Let's look at Matthew. Now, Matthew, he became a disciple, right? But before he became a disciple, he was a tax collector. Matthew had a job, that was not so pleasant. Matthew collected taxes for the Romans, right? He collected taxes for the Roman Empire. Now, I can imagine how the Jews looked at Matthew, because the Romans oppressed the Jews, right? So here we have Matthew who become this disciple, but he had a past of collecting taxes. But not only that, they collected excessive taxes. So we can compare that to a thief, right? Even through all of that, what Matthew did, Jesus still called him to be a disciple. He also served as a great apostle, and he wrote one of the books of the New Testament in the Bible called Matthew. Jesus gravitates, this is a life point to remember, Jesus gravitates towards those who many usually ridicule, hate, ignore, and reject it. And I'm quite sure that one of you that's watching this video, you can relate to being rejected, ridiculed, and hurt by people. Let's look at another person in the Bible that shows us that God indeed uses messed up people. I love the story of the woman at the well. Now, we know this woman, she had a messed up life. She had 5 husbands, and yet she was yet living with another man who she was not even married with, right? Now, just that part right there, let's be real, women. We all know the names that many would call a woman like this today in our time, right? Now, everyone knew this woman because of her lifestyle. She was popular, but not popular. Get it? The only man that would talk to this kind of woman was Jesus. The only man that can talk to her need, to her place of hurt, was Jesus. The only one that can talk to her dark place, the only one that can get her to open up about her situation and to lead her in her purpose was Jesus. Not any of those men that she slept with. Let's look at some steps in her life that will show you how Jesus will in fact clean up your mess. It would also show that he will reach down in some places to come and get you, in your dark place. He will go places where other people won't go. Some people are comfortable behind the church walls, but you have some people that are willing to go to that street corner and talk to that prostitute. They're willing to go talk to that person who's using cocaine. They're willing to go meet those people right where they are, just like Jesus did. So number one, within this woman's life, the woman at the well, we see Jesus overcame cultural barriers. He went through a region. He went through Samaria. He went through a place where Jews would avoid to go. So that right there show you Jesus will go where others refuse to go. Number two, he overcame moral barriers also. Remember, this woman had a horrible reputation, right? Her past did not cause others to adore her. I can imagine the conversation that was going on in her community when she left her house daily as she walked up and down the road. I can imagine the things that were said about her and perhaps even to her. But look what Jesus did. He engaged with her. He talked to her. He approached her. And what happens next? She began to open up about herself. I wonder if believers today, if they would talk to sinners, if they would talk to people in those hurtful, dark places, if they would come to them in love, genuine love, the way Christ did, and the way he still does today, I wonder the change and the impact that it will be upon that individual life. Through this woman's story, we can see that Jesus forgives us when we are willing to confess our sin to him. He is not at all intimidated by how ugly your past is. He is not intimidated by what other people are saying about you. He is not intimidated about the place where he has to go to get you up out of your pit. He is not bothered by that at all. It's your purpose that he's concerned about. The reason you were created, that's what he's concerned about. Life point. Jesus would break any barrier to reach you. People with questionable characters are exactly who Jesus wanted to and wants to reach today. This is why everywhere Jesus went, the rejected and the oppressed people, they followed him. Why? They followed him because they knew that Jesus will offer them mercy. They knew that Jesus will offer them forgiveness. How many of you have been in such a dark place and you reached out to someone, but they showed you the opposite of mercy, the opposite of unforgiveness? They showed you coldness, hatred. It doesn't feel good, right? So I wonder, why do people that have been in this situation, why would they still go out and set out to do this to other people? Just pointing a finger, a judgmental finger. They have forgotten about, they needed this same Jesus to show them mercy when he had to come and get them off the corner from being a prostitute. They forgot about, they needed this same Jesus to come and show them mercy when he had to deliver them out of a married man's bed, or deliver her from doing all sorts of things. They forgot about, they needed this same Jesus to come and stop them from shooting up drugs and for snorting drugs. Somehow they forgot about that, and they don't show this mercy and this compassion toward others. Let's look at another life, Moses. Now, Moses was a stutterer. He even felt that he was not a good choice for God to use because he stuttered when he was speaking. He had a speech impairment. And I'm quite sure it was embarrassing when he spoke around people. Fear would cause you to see your dysfunction as something that God cannot use. But look what he did with Moses, even though Moses had a speech impairment, even though Moses felt he wasn't good enough. God used him to deliver the children out of the children of Israel, out of bondage, out of Egypt. He even used Moses to part a Red Sea. Whatever your disability, whatever your dysfunction, whatever you feel that disqualifies you from doing great things, it does not stop what God can do. It does not stop what God can create with you. It does not stop what God can create within you. Because when God places his hands, his power on you, you will be launched further than you can even ever imagine. You will accomplish some things that's far bigger and greater than you are. The moment you give God your yes, the moment you say, I'm tired of this mess, the moment you realize, and the moment you say, Lord, if you don't come down here and reach me and get me up out of this pit, if you don't come and meet me right here in this hell that I'm in, there's no hope for me. I'm going to die here. The moment you say yes, the moment that you do this, you will gain the ability to do what those who said that you could not do. You will gain the ability to do what you think you couldn't even do. Your dysfunction, your mess, your fears, your doubt, your shyness, your limited education, your lack of money, your lack of resources. When God places his hands on you, he places his hands on all of that. And he works with everything. Nothing that you have done has gone unnoticed to him. There's nothing. You had to go through that hard place. It was a temporary place. He was teaching you some things in that darkness. He was strengthening you in that darkness. Now he's going to bring you out so that you can help someone else. It's in your going where the power of God will equip you to do what he has called you to do, although you feel unworthy because your past is so dark, although you feel that right now you lack necessary tools to get whatever it is that you're believing him to do in your life. And through the Holy Spirit, you will get your guidance and your teaching that will lead you into your purpose. Life point. Now, I say this so many times. I've said this to so many people, and I have people that respond to me all the time, and they remember this, that I say, you are never too messed up for God to use. And I say that from a personal place. I say that for someone who didn't believe that God can use to even write a book, because I felt that I wasn't an author, I wasn't a teacher, I wasn't a minister, I wasn't a pastor, I didn't have this degree, I didn't have that, and the list went on and on and on. But if God can use me, and not only birth that one book, but he's using me to birth more projects. If he can use me, yeah, I've been in a club. Yeah, I know what it's like to drink alcohol. I know what it's like to be raped. I know what it's like to be in mental bondage. I know all of that. But if he can use me, he can use you to create some wonderful things. It's in those dark places he will create the greatest miracles that you can even imagine. Just like the woman at the well, you can leave whole, no longer the same. He used her testimony to go and tell others, and then they became to inquire about this Jesus. And that's what he's going to do in your life. And that's what he wants to do with your dysfunction, your sin, your mess. If Jesus can use, look at Job. Job went bankrupt. Come on, he went bankrupt in one day. Some of us, we lose stuff over a period of time, but this man lost everything in one day. Noah was a drunk. Rahab was a prostitute. Jacob was a cheater. And look at Paul. Paul persecuted the Christians before he became one. Come on, surely he can use you. You got to believe it. You got to know it. Listen, don't continue to allow anyone, no one, to degrade you or define you because of what your past was. Don't allow anyone to base your value, not even you, base your self-worth, your self-worth on because of that dysfunction, that sin, that mess, that dark place that you were in. Your purpose is far greater than that. God can use broken people. God does use broken people, and he wants to use broken people, and he will use broken people. I'm going to leave you with these two questions as I end this video, but I want you to write them down. Really think them over. Just don't listen to the video and then leave these questions. These questions will help you take a look at your life. And again, those who have been watching my videos, those who know me personally, I'm very transparent. I have no problem with saying where I came from, how I got from there to here, because I understand, I believe, and I know the power that transparency has. People are hurting. People are hurting from all backgrounds of life, from the top of the ladder to the bottom. People are hurting, and they need some tangible proof. They need to see through somebody else that they can identify with, someone who have walked in their shoes. So with these questions, write them down. Like I said, I am an author. I do write, and I believe in journaling. It's very therapeutic when you write. What I found when I write, it's a healthy way. It's a good way to vent. Write it down, because you will find out that there are some things there that you thought you dealt with, some things that you forgot about, it will come out in your writing. Places and things that cause you to hurt, God will even show you some things as you're writing. So write these 2 questions down as I close. Number 1, what mistakes have you refused to fully give over to Christ? What dark place have you refused to give over to Him? Is it unforgiveness? It doesn't matter what form, how that unforgiveness came. Are you holding that? Is that one of the things that you are holding on to? Is it pain from childhood? It could be physical or mental abuse. Or is it grudges? Some of you are holding grudges over on people who, some of them have died. You're still holding grudges on someone who over 20 or 30 years ago, and they're not even thinking about you, but you're still holding a grudge. Number 2, list barriers that you have built within your mindset that's causing you to believe that you are too messed up to be used by God. What kind of thoughts are you having? What kind of thoughts are you having? What kinds of conversations are you having in your mind? What kind of words are you speaking out of your mouth over your own life? And once you write this down and answer these questions, then I want you to begin to make a list of how can I change this? It will help you. Trust me. It may sound silly to some of you all, but what sounds more silly? To sit in bondage and allow the enemy to block you from your purpose, or to do something that's tangible, practical, that can change your life and lead you into your purpose. A healthy place, a peaceful place, a healthy state of mind. So you make that choice. And as I close today, again, I thank you all for watching me yet on another for Friday. I pray that this video has blessed you as it has blessed me. And again, you're not too messed up for God to use. In fact, you're exactly what He wants to use. Replay this video. Reshare it with others who you think that can get something out of it. Be blessed, be free, be made whole. And see you guys next time on Fruitful Friday. Love you guys.